But a big shout out to the Redskins for absolutely dismantling my miserable football team, which I'm going to talk about in the bad section. The Seahawks keep winning. We got to give the Seahawks some love, and they're at 500 right now with a big game this weekend against the 49ers, and they do have a chance to still sneak in this playoffs so some things break their way. And so, it was a good weekend had by some teams. The Eagles, I mean, the Jets profess to be this defensive juggernaut, and Rex Ryan's supposed to know all this stuff. Well, I find it fascinating that the Eagles have carved up both Ryan boys when they faced the Cowboys a few weeks ago, and now carved up, Rex Ryan last week. A lot of people are very nervous right now around football because nobody wants to face this team healthy, and this team apparently now appears to be healthy. I mean, Jason Babin has 18 sacks, which no one saw coming at all. I mean, he obviously was a good player in his days in Tennessee, but basically for him to come out and put out a season like this has completely come unexpectedly. Also, same thing goes for, how about Jared Allen? Jared Allen's on a team that is horrible, and basically, you know, they just don't have really many. I mean, they have all this talent, but they're just not playing very well. And for Jared Allen to continue to show his professionalism and show his moxie, I have much respect for him, and you know, he has shown that he is a true, definite man in the National Football League. So, big shouts out to them, and that's all I'm gonna say about the NFL. I'm sure David may call in a few minutes to talk fantasy, but we'll interrupt our NBA section to talk about what he has to say. So, with that being said, the NBA is about to kick off this week, and the Dallas Mavericks, we all know, are the defending champs, and basically they have a lot of talent coming back. They're a little bit older. They did lose some people that people are surprised they got rid of. J.J. Barrera. They got rid of, excuse me, Caron Butler, and basically added only Lamar Odom. They also lost Tyson Chandler, which is huge. And basically, they're going to try to win this thing with, offense and not a heck of a lot of defense. Brendan Hayward is serviceable. And, we're going to find out just how good this team really is. I picked Oklahoma City actually this year to come out of the West because I think Oklahoma City is poised for a championship run. I think the last couple of years they've learned a lot by playing both the Lakers and Dallas. And I think, having a full season with Perkins in the middle, this team is going to be very difficult to beat. I think Miami has all the pressure in the NBA from everybody to actually win this title this year because of no excuses anymore. They have all their players played together now for a full year. They've made a few additions that they needed. They still need a center inside, which is crazy, but they feel that they have enough talent to get it done, and we're going to find out exactly what they're made of this whole season because this whole season is only going to be about Miami. I think the Bulls are another team that a lot of people are going to talk a lot about because, Derrick Rose was the league MVP last year. Adding Rip Hamilton helps him offensively. Defensively, this team plays great defense. They have a lot of guys who can score, a lot of guys who can score in different ways. The Bulls and the Heat are going to battle it out in the East, and they're going to be joined by probably the Knicks. The Knicks addressed a lot of their issues. Hopefully Baron Davis can come and be healthy very soon. I mean, until Baron Davis comes in and plays point guard, the point guard position for the Knicks isn't very, daunting. But the bottom line is, if the Knicks can somehow, some way get some guard play, and with the front court that they have, the Knicks will be around, throughout the whole thing. I think the Celtics, unfortunately, they're aging, but it's a part of growth. I mean, I know the Celtics were very disappointed that they did not sign David West, but they have the horses that can still play. But in a season where it's 66 games and there's going to be weeks where teams are going to be playing 7 games in 10 nights, people are going to wonder, can these older teams hold up? And I think that's the one reason why a lot of people aren't picking Dallas again, because they are an older team. And I think a lot of people aren't picking Boston because, yes, Rondo's a young point guard, but everyone else in that team is pretty old. The Celtics need to make a move. They need to get somebody to be able to sort of buffer the scoring when the big three isn't getting it done. can't believe I mentioned 6 teams already. I haven't talked once about the Lakers. The Lakers have a lot of issues, folks. I mean, I'm not going to kick Kobe Bryant while he's down. Kobe is very, very down these days with his own personal life and now with a wrist injury and basically disappointment in the NBA for not allowing that trade of Chris Paul to come to that team. The Lakers have talent to be able to compete against anybody. I mean, their bigs inside are unstoppable. The question is there enough basketballs to go around to be able to give these big guys an opportunity to show their worth and keep Kobe happy? I mean, this is a brand new system, a brand new coach in Mike Brown. I mean, I watched both Clipper games with the Lakers. The first game, the Lakers just absolutely got outclassed. The second game without Kobe, the Lakers played a lot better. Derek Fisher obviously played in that game, so they had somebody who can sort of, general this team. But the bottom line is this team has a lot of holes. This team needs to figure out a way to play better defense. Unfortunately, it is an older team, and we all know that the one trade that could still happen that would offset everything in the NBA would be getting a Dwight Howard. But until that happens, the Lakers are going to be a question mark throughout the whole year. I think a team that shocked everybody last year, the Memphis Grizzlies, comes back this season ready to play very well. Rudy Gay is not hurt anymore, so they have their full complement of players. They're going to be very difficult to stop, very difficult to guard inside with all their size inside. But basically, I think that, this team has all the makings of being a difficult out for anyone. And personally, with Marc Gasol and, Mr. Randolph inside, and the guard play playing great, I just think that this team has everything necessary to be a contender. A lot of people don't think they're going to be able to play as well because they snuck up on people last year. I don't think they're going to be sneaking up on anyone this year, and I think they have the talent to keep it going forward. I think another team that has the same type of talent, too, is the Denver Nuggets. Denver has a lot of good players, a lot of good pieces. If they want to run and gun in their games, they'll be tough to beat. And I think that they basically can do pretty much any type of game you want to play. Re-signing Nene was huge for them because at least they still have the inside presence. And Gallinari is probably as happy as anyone because he gets to play in an offense where he can just shoot the ball and not care. I also think Orlando, if they don't lose Dwight Howard, there's a bunch of guys in that team that have a chip on their shoulder. I mean, Jameer Nelson, is a good point guard. Jason Richardson is a good shooting guard. Turkoglu is a good shooting guard, 3-position player, and of course Howard. And so this team, maybe they should start thinking about adding a player to help Dwight Howard. They should have tried to get David West. That would have been insane had they got David West. But they didn't do it. Howard is still talking about leaving. And so, but Orlando is a tough team to figure out sometimes. Some weeks they can shoot lights out. Some games you're like, what in the world are they doing? And that showed the other night. They played Miami the first night. They couldn't make a single shot, and they got blown out by almost 40. The second night, they were down by 23 in the first half. Then all of a sudden, Nelson and Redick all started making shots. Ended up winning the game. I'm going to throw the Clippers in that list of top teams in this league this year. I'm not a front runner. I'm not caught up in the hype. I'm not caught up in anything. I watched every Clipper game last year. I think that the Clippers can organize themselves with the guard play. They have 2 guards who can be point guards. Yes, they are defensive liabilities, only man-up defensive liabilities. But if they're able to somehow, some way keep a healthy Chris Paul, keep a healthy Caron Butler, keep Blake Griffin happy, stop showboating, dunk, and go on. I completely agree with Matt Barnes when he said that they're showboating a little bit too much after dunks because teams are going to start fouling them harder and harder and harder. Win the games, folks. Win the games first, then you can showboat all you want to. And I think the Clippers will be fine. I think the Clippers will make the playoffs, and I think the Clippers may have a better season this year than the Lakers, to be honest with you, just because Chris Paul means that much to them. And if they lose Chris Paul, they have 2 other point guards they can go to that can help lead this team. They are deeper than they ever have been, and personally, I look forward to seeing it. And the last team, the 12th team that I think, is tops in this league, you got to give Houston Rockets. Houston has a very solid team. I like the addition of one of the Morris twins. I think that they are spry, they're fast, they can play really good, solid defense, And Brooks at the point guard is very difficult to guard for a lot of people. So look out for Houston. And we'll be back to talk more NBA, more good in the next section, because we will talk about the teams that are not, there's still 4 more teams that'll make the playoffs, but they'll just make the playoffs and be happy. And then we'll talk about the rest of the bad teams in the NBA, and then we'll move on to the other page of that, the ugly, as I like to call them. And we'll do that on 89.7 KLES FM after this.
Including expert